Whether you rent or own, Geico makes it easy to bundle home and car insurance. Having a home is hard work.
So get a quote at geico.com.
Easy. So before we get started in today's podcast, I want to announce 2 merch winners, but don't worry, there'll be 2 announced every podcast. All you got to do to be entered is go give a 5-star review on the Apple Podcast and leave your Instagram @ so I know how to contact you. The winners of this podcast are Viola and Viviana. We will be hitting you up to send you some exclusive free merch. Now, welcome to Sus, Share Your Scare, where we talk to different people and hear their stories of survival, the paranormal, and all things sus. I'm your host, Brendan Taylor. This is my brother, Jake.
What's up?
And today we have on the lovely, the beautiful, party of 5-star, Emily Tosta.
Wow, thank you for that, Brennan.
Thank you for coming on.
Of course, I'm so excited to be here.
It's an honor to have you here. I know we really haven't had that much connection as friends lately. We used to be really close, but we haven't, I blame it on COVID.
I was literally about to say that. I was going to say, let's blame it on the coronavirus. Yes. I haven't really been seeing anybody at all because I'm terrified.
Exactly. You know, we've been trying to stay safe. That's the biggest thing, is trying to stay safe, but stay busy,
Yeah,
because everyone's going to get so bored at home. We have to figure something out. What have you been doing to stay busy?
I think it's been really important for me to have found certain things that I can do to sort of keep myself productive and creative at the same time. Because at the beginning it was really hard. The first month of this whole quarantine thing was so difficult. I was like, what am I supposed to do with my life? I was supposed to leave to New York to film a show and I couldn't. It's like everything got put on pause, obviously, for everyone. So at the beginning it was a little difficult for me. And then after that, I sort of started picking up on new things. Like I started learning French. I started playing the piano and guitar again. I started working out a lot more because I had more time to do so. So I started working on businesses. I'm releasing a clothing line and a vegan purse line. So I just started working on like a lot of different things so that I could keep myself busy. And yeah.
That's awesome. And I know you worked on, like, right before COVID, you were like booking everything, you were the up and coming star, and it kind of sucks that COVID happened, but like, walk me through that, okay? Because you've been acting, or what was it, your whole life? Like, how did it happen?
I started acting since I was 7 years old, but I did it in my country, in Dominican Republic. So then I moved to this country to pursue acting, but I actually moved here with like no legal documentation. I didn't speak the language. I just literally came to this country and I was like, I want to be an actress and I'm going to figure it out somehow.
Awesome.
So eventually I got a work visa and then I was able to obviously learn English.
I hope so.
Sometimes I still mess up, but it's okay. But yeah, I lived in Miami and I was working there, and then my mom and I wanted to move to LA because I wasn't really happy with the type of work that I was getting in Miami. And then I moved to LA when I was about 15 years old. And yeah, I started auditioning. I just started trying to find work. And it's obviously really hard because everyone and their moms comes out here to act. So it took definitely a long time. I think the first role that sort of started putting me in like the eyes of people in the industry was my role on Mayans MC, which is a show on FX. And for the first time, like, people started noticing my work and stuff. And then from there, I booked Party of 5. I booked a movie that I just did in Atlanta with Nicolas Cage.
Nice, yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Thank you.
Has that done filming with that one already?
Yeah, it was crazy because we finished right before everything got shut down. So I finished in Atlanta. I just got to LA, and like 5 days later, I was like, everything's shutting down.
Oh, wow.
So we finished just in time.
That's perfect timing. So you said you came to America when you were young. Like, how was the process of getting here? Like, what was that like?
So I came here as a tourist on a tourist visa, quote unquote. Please don't deport me. I'm legal now, so I can talk about it. But yeah, I came here on a tourist visa, and it obviously took a long time because I was 12, almost 13. So in order for somebody so young to get a work visa, it's very difficult. So I think it was honestly a miracle that they gave me a work visa. It was all meant to be. But I just put together like all the work that I had done in my country and all of that stuff, and we put like everything together in a book and we presented it to the government for me to get like an O1 visa. And then I remember we got it in the mail. Like, obviously it took a few months and stuff, but I just remember my mom and I were like opening the mail and we got the letter from the government and we were like, oh my God, did they approve us or do we gotta get back?
Yeah.
So then we open it and it says you've been approved for a work visa. And then obviously because I was a minor, they ended up giving my mom an O3.
Okay.
So it all worked out.
It worked out. Wow.
So you pretty much came here and then never left, right?
Literally.
Came on vacation.
I came here to invade the country and never left.
And so you came here with the soul, love, and heart filled with just acting. That's all you wanted to do.
And just $500.
$500.
Yeah, literally. We were so broke. We didn't even have money for food sometimes for the first 4 years of us living in this country.
Wow.
Yeah, it was rough, but it paid off.
Dang, so it was just you and your mom.
Yeah, it was just me and my mom.
Wow.
That's why my mom's my best friend. I don't know if you've noticed, like whenever you come over and stuff, like my mom hangs out with us, and
I love your
she's
mom.
literally my best friend because we've been through everything together. So she's always been like my partner in crime.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So you now, with COVID, how have things changed? Like, do you still get to go on auditions, and like what's the acting industry like now that COVID is here?
It's actually changed a lot. We started picking up on a lot of Zoom meetings. So now instead of you auditioning, you just get on Zoom with either the casting director or the producers and stuff, which has been really weird to adjust because you're just sitting there like Skyping somebody basically and trying to act out this, like I'm trying to cry, I'm trying to do all these things, and I'm just sitting at my desk.
Over Zoom.
And I'm just like, dude, over Zoom? This is messed up. But anyways, I'm trying to get used to it because obviously we don't know when things are going to get back to normal.
Do you feel it's harder to do it over Zoom or in person? I mean, like, is it more comfortable since you are at home, or is it less comfortable?
I think that's an interesting question because I think for me, I know a lot of actors that I've talked to disagree with me, but for me, it's actually less comfortable because I have this mentality of like when I'm walking into an audition room, I switch myself into that character and I walk in there and I'm a completely different person and I'm in a different setting, so it helps. And it's just like, that's how I've always looked at it. I just walk in there and I do my work and then I leave. But then if I'm home, I'm just like, this is my surroundings. This is the place that I'm familiar with. This is like, so it makes it a little more strange.
That's true. That's why they say don't mix your business with like where you live because you get too comfortable. And I feel like that's our issue, especially with filming videos, because like we'll like film something and then want to go sit on the couch for a minute. Next thing, a minute's an hour.
Exactly.
And we're like, I'm not even in it anymore. But that's so. Recently, you had a little situation where I saw you were in the hospital.
Yeah.
What happened? If you want to talk about that.
Yeah. That was really crazy. I don't know if you know because we haven't really gone in depth.
I mean, I watched your video about it, but I want to hear from you everything that happened. Because, I mean, this is terrifying, and I know we're jumping into something scary early, but I need the people out there to know.
Yeah. It was really crazy. I'm not even exaggerating. I almost died. Well, the doctors thought I was going to die. So basically how it happened was I had been feeling certain symptoms. I had been like bleeding, like there was, I'm going to be hella TMI, but whatever. But yeah, I had been feeling certain symptoms. Like there had been like blood in my stool. Like when I would go to the bathroom, I had been like spitting up blood. There was like things that were happening that obviously like go to the freaking doctor, but I was working so much and I didn't want to risk not being able to work.
Right.
So I was going from project to project. I was filming 2 shows at the same time. And it was just like things in my career were going so well that I didn't want to risk going to the doctor and them telling me like,
something bad.
Either you need to slow down or, hey, this is really wrong with you, so you can't work. So obviously it was very negligent of my part to do that. But at the same time, I was just like, it's okay. It'll go away. I'm young. I'm so healthy. I take such good care of myself. But it didn't. So things started getting really, really bad. And thankfully it was while I wasn't working because it was now throughout this whole COVID thing. So basically the symptoms were happening every single day as opposed to happening sporadically as they were before. So it was like every single day I was spitting up blood. Every time I would go to the bathroom, there would be blood. I was like feeling really weak. And it got to a day where I couldn't get up from bed. Wow. I was visiting a friend in Fresno. And so I was 3 hours away from home and from my mom. So I couldn't get up. I had like a really horrible fever and I knew it wasn't COVID because I had just gotten my results from my test like literally the day before that. So I was like, this isn't COVID. So what the hell is wrong with me? I remember I couldn't talk. I was trying to like develop sentences to my friend and I couldn't. Wow. And it just got really, really bad. So I remember texting my mom and telling her, please come here. I need you. So obviously my mom just drove like a crazy maniac all the way to Fresno. And so we call a doctor from Fresno and they start putting like an IV and stuff on me to sort of try to revive me and get some energy going while we were waiting for a hospital bed to be available, which was really difficult because of COVID times. It's like every single bed in the hospital was booked. So we were waiting. Nobody understood what was going on. As we were waiting, I was just getting worse and worse. I was literally seeing the light. Like, I kid you not. Way. I was like, my eyes were like slowly fading away and I was like trying to keep myself alive and awake. And I was like, bad? It was really bad. Oh, like my mom was so worried. Everyone was really worried. So then I get to the hospital And basically, we're telling them everything that's going on, the symptoms. I still can't talk, so obviously other people are trying to do it for me. So they ingress me in the hospital, and they do a bunch of like blood works, and they do like a colonoscopy and endoscopy, all this stuff to figure out what it is that's wrong with me. And basically, everything came back. And first of all, I was very malnourished because of the autoimmune disease that I had, which I didn't know I had. That basically, because I wasn't taking care of it, anything that I was eating, my body wouldn't grab it. So for months and months and months, I wasn't getting any vitamins. I wasn't getting anything from food. Like literally, it was like if I just went all those months starving myself, pretty much. So I was very malnourished. They were like, "You're literally as malnourished as like a kid in Africa." Like they were surprised that I was still alive. I got diagnosed with an autoimmune disease called ulcerative colitis. Which is an autoimmune disease in your digestive system. I was like severely anemic because I had lost so much blood for such a long period of time. I was basically every single thing in my blood test, and like my blood levels were completely down and completely low. They were literally surprised that I was still alive.
Wow.
And so obviously once we knew what the diagnosis was, we were like, okay, well, what can we do now? And that's when things started getting really complicated. So while I was in the hospital, everything started getting so much worse. And they weren't finding a cure for it. So the thing that you're supposed to give patients with ulcerative colitis wasn't working for me. So they kept trying and trying, and it just wasn't working. And then the surgeon came into my room, and he was like, "We're going to have to remove your colon." And that would mean me living with like a bag on me for the rest of my life. Yeah, it was literally crazy. So they weren't finding a cure. They weren't figuring out what they could do. And that's when the doctors started getting worried. And it's like, when you see doctors starting to get worried, that's when you start worrying even more. Because I'm just like, y'all are the ones that are supposed to figure out what the heck is going on with me.
If you don't know, I sure
don't
know.
My life is over. Like, I'm done.
Yeah, 100%.
So obviously I can laugh about it now, but it was like the most stressful days of my life. It was funny. Well, it's funny now, but I literally started writing my will. I was like, hold on.
You actually did.
Yeah, no, I did. When I said that to you, I wasn't joking.
Wow.
Because I wasn't supposed to make it through. So then I started like actually strengthening my relationship with God a lot while I was in the hospital. So then my mom and I started praying a lot and stuff. And then that's why I say that it was a freaking miracle, because suddenly like the doctors came in and they were like, this worked. They just came into my room one day and they were like, this treatment actually worked. And I went from thinking that I was going to die and on the verge of like my body slowly shutting down to finding a cure for it and finding something that was actually helpful. So then things started working out and everything started getting good again. But yeah, and eventually I finally went back home to keep like my remission period of things and stuff back home. And
that must have been
crazy.
terrifying.
It was crazy. I went into the hospital weighing 123 pounds, and my last day at the hospital, I was at 95 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's like
it
the
was crazy.
full-on keto diet.
Not in a good way.
No, not in a good way.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was insane.
Are you like 100% cured from that, or is that something that could come back in the future?
So with autoimmune diseases, it's sort of something that you have to live with for the rest of your life. So I'm still taking medicine because I recently left the hospital. It hasn't even been like 2 or 3 months yet.
Yeah.
So I'm still on like this medical treatment that I have to be on for maybe the next few months. There's a lot of things that I can't eat anymore. There's a lot of things that basically just a lot of lifestyle choices that I have to change. And obviously, which is the crazy part of things, it was all caused by stress and basically I internalize everything. So whenever I'm stressing about something, whenever I'm upset, like I internalize everything. So I take it all in, and as opposed to like being communicative or being open about what bothers me. So that's another change that I have to make in my life, because they literally said like usually autoimmune diseases are very stress driven. So it didn't matter that I was so healthy. It didn't matter that I ate healthy, that I worked out, that I took care of myself. At the end of the day, what literally eventually almost killed me was the stress.
So it was like a ticking time bomb, because it was always in you. It was just the stress that brought it out.
It was just like
trigger,
everything. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How was like being in the hospital during COVID? Like,
Yeah, what was that?
It was awful. You guys, it was awful. It was like Well, obviously you can't have any guests. Like nobody can come in and see you. My mom was sneaking into the hospital.
No way.
Yeah, I hope she doesn't get arrested after this comes out.
Breaking
But
news.
breaking news. But yeah, she was sneaking into the hospital. So she would find, like, it was bad because we were in constant arguments with, like, the nurses and stuff. Like, because my mom would hide in the closet whenever a nurse would come
Really?
in. There was one time that she hid under the bed. There was another time that she hid in the shower in the bathroom. She, like, closed the curtain and was praying. And then the nurse went in there to throw out one of the things. And I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. Please don't see her. Please don't see her. Please don't see
Just
her.
hear her scream. And
I know.
Oh my
And she
God.
was just, like, behind the curtain like this.
Oh my God.
It was just, yeah, it was crazy. She was obviously the only person that came to visit me because, you know, she couldn't even visit me. She was just a freaking savage.
She's the only one risking to break into the
literally
hospital.
risking to break into the hospital. She broke in through the kitchen. She broke in through,
Wow.
like, she once, like, followed this doctor that was opening the door and she, like, hid me. It was like a whole movie. Like,
She bought a
when-
doctor's outfit.
no, I'm not kidding. She bought the same color that the nurses were
lying.
wearing. I'm not kidding. And she
What a
bought
mom.
like that plastic face shield that nurses wear. She bought it so she could try to blend in.
Hell yeah.
It was crazy, but to be honest, like I'm so grateful that she did that because I wouldn't have made it through
Yeah.
without her.
When,
100%.
when you were there writing your will, what goes through your mind at that point?
Wow. I feel like at that point it was a lot of obviously like sadness and worry and concern, and I was just like this is it? Like really? I feel like there's so many more things that I want to do with my life. There's so many things that I wish I could do right now, but I can't even stand up and do them. And it's just like it really makes you appreciate every second even more than I already did. Like I feel like I've always been a very grateful person, but going through an experience like that is such an awakening period of your life because you just think to yourself, like life is really fragile. It really is. Like we could be gone in a second, and it could be from anything. And the people that you least expect. Like none of my friends expected that to be me because I'm so healthy and I'm always taking care of myself. I'm busy all the time. I'm so happy all the time. Like literally, when you least expect it, the craziest things can happen to you, and that's why it's so important for us to do what makes us happy, to not stress as much, to tell people that you love them. Like there's so many things that we as human beings need to be doing every single day because life is fragile and you never know. Somebody could be gone tomorrow and then you're going to have all this regret and all this anxiety and all these worries, and it's just like that could be avoided if we just lived life from a place of love and kindness and just doing what the heck we want to do and whatever makes us happy, as opposed to worrying so much about things that aren't going to matter in like 5 years.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
You were like a vegan or vegetarian, right?
Mm-hmm.
Has that affected anything now that you have to change your eating habits, or can you still be a vegan?
Yeah, it's actually more helpful because one of the things that the doctors didn't want me to have was lactose, dairy, red meat, and chicken. So I was like, oh, this is easy. I don't
Yeah.
need any of that already. so yeah, it was actually a lot more helpful.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy. Like you said, anything can happen at any moment. So you really do have to appreciate life. And now that you made it through this, thankfully. Thank you, Lord, for
Thank you, Lord.
getting Emily through this. What are you gonna do to start living your life differently?
I feel like I already have. Like I told myself that I used to be a person, well, obviously the stress is a big part of it. Like I literally just let things slide. Like I just think to myself, dude, whatever's going to happen is going to happen because God has a plan, or whatever it is that you believe in, the universe or whatever. Like there's a plan. Like in this world, there's a plan for everybody. We're all here for a reason. So it's just like, I think I've learned to be a lot more chill about things. Like I just go with the flow. I do things that make me happy. I created a morning routine for myself, and I'm actually like sticking to it, of meditation or
Really?
in prayer and working out and just like doing things that are actually healthy for not only my outer body, like my physical body, but also like emotionally and mentally. And I've just been doing more things that keep me more like my mind, body, and soul more balanced. And yeah, just trying to live like a less stress life.
What are the things that stress you out? Like what is your stress driven from?
It was always driven from either work or family issues, or before I started working more, and obviously I'm more blessed in that department, but it used to be finances a lot too, like a few years ago. So it stemmed from a lot of different areas of my life, but it was crazy because it was all like outwardly created. It was something that I couldn't really control. So I think that's something that I'm learning now. So the way that I see it is, if I can't control a situation or if I can't change a situation, I'm not going to stress about it. I'm just going to let it slide. I'm just going to let it flow the way that it's supposed to. as opposed to how I was before, where I tried to control everything.
Right.
I tried to change everything. I tried to be like, oh my God, this is going on. So I think that's been really helpful for me.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like my mom has high blood pressure from being stressed out. She's out there. She's listening to me.
Hey.
Stress is, I always heard her saying this my whole life. Stress is like a silent killer, and you guys, everyone listening has to take a moment for themselves. Maybe you do it right now or maybe after the podcast, but like really take a moment just to like quiet yourself because, everyone has things going on with them, even if they don't look it. Like Emily, you guys could look at her and see it's just a beautiful girl. You wouldn't think anything's wrong with her, but little do you know, she's bleeding from the inside out,
Literally.
Exactly.
That sounded like Shakespeare in your wedding somehow.
It's nice. No, but, okay, I want to get back into the acting for a second because I started out as acting. And I know there's like a lot of like rejection in acting. You have to get used to being rejected. And for the people listening who maybe aspire to be an actor, what could you tell them as advice?
I would just tell them to keep going. I think that was something that was really important for me in my career. There was moments where I was really close to giving up. And there's this image that I always look at. It's these two guys, and they're like breaking down this mine, right? And then they're both in the same position. And this guy actually goes all the way through and finds like a bunch of beautiful diamonds. And the other guy under him didn't get to the diamonds, but he was one step away from getting to them, but he gave up and turned back. So I always look at that because I'm always like, you never know how close you can be to making your dream come true.
Right.
So why give up? If you love something, if you're passionate about it, just work hard, obviously, because that's important. Don't just be like, I'm not going to give up and then just lay in bed and not do anything.
Right.
Like,
Expect
it's
it to
important
come.
for you to have discipline and for you to have a routine and work hard and obviously work on your craft and always educate yourself. But I think that's my biggest advice. If you love something and you're truly passionate about something and you're willing to work hard for it, just don't give up.
That's beautiful.
Our mom used to tell us when we were acting and modeling and stuff that like the rejection necessarily isn't because they didn't like you, that they were picking someone completely opposite from like what you look
Exactly.
like. And it would be like that. You'd go out for a Target commercial and then there would be some blonde hair, blue eyed kid on the commercial. You'd be like,
I was never going to get that anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. And that's happened to me so many times. It was like they would either tell me like, oh, you're too curvy. Oh, your boobs are too big. Oh, you have a baby face and it doesn't match your body. Oh, your accent comes out sometimes. Or it was always, they would always pick on me. And I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? I'm going to prove all of you wrong. So wrong one day. But at the end of the day, you just have to use that rejection as sort of like a catalyst to propel you to like move forward as
Yeah.
opposed to just making it make you feel stuck. And I think that's where a lot of people make the mistake of being like, oh, this person said this about me or this casting director said this about me. But at the end of the day, you have to believe in yourself more than anybody else. And if
Right.
you don't believe in yourself, then nobody else is going to.
Definitely. Do you think that there is like a certain thing that got you to get these roles? Like, for example, like I know you started meditating a lot, not kind of around the similar time that I feel like I started meditating.
Yeah.
And like I saw like the results happening in your life. Do you feel like it came from, being more spiritual or what do you think?
I definitely do. I feel like when I finally, I was, it's not that I was in a bad place in my life, but I used to be, when I was a lot younger, I used to be a little negative of a person. And I used to let outside opinions and what people said and what people thought affect me a lot more than I should have. And I was obviously struggling with money. I had just moved to a new country. I had just moved to a new state. It was just like a lot of things going on. And I allowed the bad parts of my life to really take over me and affect me. And that's when I started going on my spiritual journey because I was like, there has to be more to life than just waking up every day and hating your life.
Right.
And I was just like, there has to be more to life than this. And I know there is more to life than this. So I started seeking sort of like that spiritual side of myself. And I started doing affirmations and I started developing my faith and I started meditating and I started like just doing things that would make me feel more balanced with the universe and with like that higher power. And it's crazy because the timing of things, when I finally was in like a good place for myself, that's when everything in my outer life started changing. And I think that's really important because sometimes when you're like so in tune with a positive frequency, that's going to reflect on the rest of your life. So I think me being able to go through that spiritual journey and really get to know myself spiritually and feel more awakened, it reflected on the rest of my life and it literally changed it.
Most definitely. Do you think, because the way I think a lot is like everything happens for a reason, Do you feel that, when this incident happened that brought you into the hospital, do you feel like it kind of changed your belief system or your faith in, the law of attraction and spirituality, because you do all this and then something bad happens and you're like, dang,
And you're just like, what
is it even working, or why am I doing this? Like, how'd you get through that situation?
Yeah, so it's crazy because I did have those days in the hospital where I was like, hold on a second. I would say that I have my crap pretty together.
Right.
Like, why am I here going through this? But then I sort of like took a step back and I realized everything happens for a reason, like you just said. And that's the motto that I like to live by as well. Motto. There's my, you see what I'm saying? Learning English at 13. But yeah, so whatever that word you said. But yeah, it's just like I realized, okay, well, maybe this is just an opportunity for me to like build more strength in an aspect of my life that maybe I need more strength in. And as human beings, we're not perfect, obviously. We still have imperfections. It doesn't matter how spiritual you are. It doesn't matter. We're not perfect. So there's always going to be things until the day we die that we're going to be working on. And that's just how it is. So I looked at it as an opportunity to take a step back and be like, okay, what are the aspects of my life that I still need work on? And I've always believed in God, and I've always had honestly a regular relationship with God. Like I would pray once every few weeks. I would be like, oh, thank you, God, for this.
Right.
But it was never as strong as it became during the hospital. And it was crazy because there was one day where they had switched my room to a different room in the hospital. And
your mom was still under the bed of the other one.
My mom was still under the bed of the other one. She kept holding on. There was, after pushing me through the chair, my mom was like holding on for dear life, like, hi, Amelia. So, anyways. But literally, though, she kept holding on for dear life. Dude, that woman didn't even shower for like 5 days. She was just hiding between closets and bathrooms. Honestly, oh my God, shout out to my mom, yo.
Bless her.
Bless her heart. But yeah, so there was a moment where they switched my rooms, and they switched me into a room that right in front of my bed, there was a cross. And it's not that I hadn't prayed up until this point, but I hadn't like really sat down and asked God for help. And when I got to that room, it was weird. I don't know if it was like the change of setting or something. There was something that sparked inside of me that I was like, I haven't really like talked to God. You know what I'm saying? Like I haven't really sat down and prayed and been like, why is this happening to me or what, So then my mom and I decided this was like towards the end of me being in the hospital. My mom and I decided to just like, she kneeled down and I was just on my bed and we were playing like worship music and we were just praying, and we called some of my family members in other countries and we were doing sort of just like a big prayer circle.
Yeah. And
I literally out of nowhere, I just started crying, and I got goosebumps all over my body, and I felt like this presence of something, and I was just like, I didn't even know what it was. And the next day after that was when they told me that they found a cure.
So
like they found something to resolve it.
Yeah.
So it was just like the craziest thing. Like I don't know what the heck that was. I mean, I'd like to say it was the presence of God or the presence of whatever that higher power is, but it was literally the craziest experience of my life.
That sounds insane, but I did talk to a meditation teacher one time, and she's telling me like when you get those, like some people call them goosebumps, some people call them thrill bumps, and this teacher that we actually had on the podcast, her name is Caroline, she refers to them as like your spirit talking to you. And like that's when your spirit is communicating with you, is when you get those bumps. It's like it's a sign. It's like you know what I mean? Like yours was, you're about to be cured.
Yeah,
you felt it inside you.
That's so crazy.
That's insane. And then now what are you working on? What are you doing? Like you're doing YouTube? I hear you're starting a YouTube channel?
Yeah, I just started a YouTube channel.
Okay.
I actually just started it for fun as one of the little project things that I was like, let's pick up on this during COVID, because why not? I try to keep myself as busy as I could. So I started YouTube. I only have like 4 videos up, but it's okay. But go subscribe.
Yeah, do it. Look up Emily Tosta.
Look up Emily Tosta and go subscribe. But yeah, I started YouTube. We finally got a date to start filming season 3 of Mayans MC, which is great. I have a clothing line coming out. I'm working on a vegan leather purse line as well.
You are booked and busy, girl. I love that. Do you own or rent your home?
Sure you do.
And I bet it could be hard work. But you know what's easy? Bundling policies with Geico. Geico makes it easy to bundle your homeowners or renters insurance along with your auto policy. And it's a good thing too, because you already have so much to do around the house. Just go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. It's Geico easy. Visit geico.com. That's geico.com. I wanted to touch on, because it's that time. I don't know if that was your scariest story ever, but it is that time for you to share your scare.
Ooh, okay. You know what? Okay, so this is what I had texted you about. I was like, I really want to talk about what happened to us.
Let's do
And I
it.
feel like you should help me talk about it.
I will help you.
So I just remember Brendan was filming this video. I don't know if he ever told you about this
I've
or
seen
not.
the video.
You've seen the video.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. But I feel like some people sometimes when they see YouTube videos, they think that things are staged or they think that things are planned or like somebody else is doing that behind the scenes. Like, no. Because I did see a lot of people that were like either sliding into my DMs or telling me like, oh, was this real? Like, was
Yeah.
it fake? It was 100% real.
Let me kind of give some backstory
Yeah.
so that people can understand. So
Yeah.
basically, I had this Ouija board, the scariest Ouija board I have ever seen. It was like, it wasn't even it was like a handmade Ouija board. Like it was like something that you shouldn't be playing with. Either way, I decided to I was gonna go play with Colby, Emily, Franny, and myself, and we went out there to this cave, like in the middle of nowhere, and at this same place, I think it was like the Charles Manson caves or something
Yeah,
close
it
like
was
that.
something like that.
But I remember when I was younger hearing a story about someone's body being found at this same like trail. It was like a hiking trail.
Yeah,
in a way.
I told you the story. It was people from,
Yes.
they were a grade above me.
At our school. This
At
is
my
how we knew this
school.
story. What
Yeah.
happened?
I'm not too sure, but I remember like they were bike riding in that area and they found like a dead body, and like I guess
Yeah.
some guy killed like his girlfriend or something and like left her there.
oh my God.
So then fast forward a couple years, we decide to go play the Ouija board there. I bring Emily out. First off, we got to do this hike in the middle of the dark.
Middle of
like
nowhere.
we have 3 flashlights on us and we're trying to see the trail so that we can get there safely. And all through the while of us walking, we hear like the bushes moving. Like there was an animal or something following us up there.
Yeah, forget that.
Scary as hell. Finally, we make it to this cave and we get there, and they all thought like that was it. Like we're at the cave. No, we had to go inside the cave. So we had to climb up this rock, which Emily later fell down the rock because she was running.
110%.
Anyways, we're in this cave. We decided to start trying to play the Ouija board, and what happened at first? Like we weren't really. It was moving a little bit, whatever. But then we started hearing something in the cave with us, and like there was this one area, because we were in this one area where we could see the exit, but behind us was the deepest, darkest parts of this cave. That
Literally, that we couldn't see. Like we didn't know what was there. We don't
know how
see
deep it was.
anything.
It was just like a cave, and all the while, Franny is like basically crying the whole
Oh,
time.
100%.
Because she's
I'm pretty sure she still has nightmares about it.
yeah, she's convinced there's an animal in there or something. And, I wouldn't put it past that there was a mountain lion or something sleeping in there. But either way, we're playing the Ouija board and we start hearing rocks and flying in this cave. And we're like starting to get scared because these are rocks and there's nowhere for us to hide. Like we can get pelted with a boulder on our head and be unconscious.
And it's not like we can just walk out. Like, no, we have to climb down.
Yeah.
We have to like go through all these rocks in order to leave. Like, it's not like there's an easy way out that we can just be like, okay, let's go. No.
Nothing like that. And we start hearing some weird ass noises in there. Like just, I don't even know what, like they were like.
And it started getting louder and
Yeah,
louder.
it was
like somebody was, I don't know if it was somebody or what the
It seemed
spirit,
like
I don't know.
it might have been
was.
like a I don't know. I was thinking one of my thoughts is maybe there was like homeless people living in there or something because they were throwing rocks, they were making noises. Either way, they didn't want us to be in this place. I remember Franny, God bless her, I feel so bad. She was bawling her eyes out this whole time. Emily's trying to like stay with her, but now I realize you're stressed because in that
you
moment,
see, I internalized everything.
Emily
Inside,
was.
I was dying, but outside, I was like, it's all good.
She was trying to make sure, like, come on, guys, we gotta go. Like, she was trying to maintain order while we were all freaking out inside of this cave. And what were you thinking during this?
I was thinking we're gonna die, but I internalized it.
I would have been the first one gone.
Oh my God.
I remember, like, once bigger rocks started getting thrown, they were getting thrown
And
down
that's the
at
thing,
us.
they were getting thrown down at us, and it was like it started out smooth. It started out with like 1 or 2 rocks, smaller rocks, but then it started getting heavier, like heavier rocks, and then louder, and
they were
it started
hitting
getting like more and more
hard.
intense. And that's when we were like, okay, we gotta get the F out of here.
Yeah, because at that point, I knew, like, this is not an animal. Someone or something is
Yeah,
trying
because
to
an
harm
animal
us.
isn't going. It was happening too specifically
Right.
for it to have been an animal.
Right, like it could have been something spiritual or something, but I don't know, because rocks were being thrown at us, like physical rocks.
Physical rocks.
It wasn't like we were just hearing these noises and not seeing anything. I remember multiple rocks almost coming at me, like right where I was sitting, and I remember us running out of there, and Emily just decided to free fall this thing because she just ran and jumped off of this cave. Like, I kid you not.
And I wish we could like have a visual image for you guys to see, but it was literally like rock climbing, okay?
Oh my God.
So imagine that somebody's going rock climbing and they just decide to throw themselves off of this rock climbing.
This girl slid down all the rocks. Poor girl, her back's all scraped up, and she ran out of there faster than anyone else.
I almost fell like on Franny at a point.
And then we're all just running from this cave. Like, keep in mind, we hiked for like what 25 minutes before we got to the cave.
I didn't even know I had that type of stamina in me.
That was probably hands down one of the scariest things that we had to go through, and but I'm at least glad we did it together.
I know.
So then people don't think we're completely crazy.
I know, and people don't think like, oh, they're lying. Like, no, it's together.
No.
So we're telling this story together. So it's the truth. We have like 4 witnesses in total with all of us.
Colby and I have talked about this, and it was just so like insane that none of us got hurt from those rocks.
It's so crazy.
Because they were this close.
Yeah, like whoever was doing that, whatever it is that was doing that, like their intention was to hurt us.
Yeah, and
the fact that we all made it out alive was crazy.
And I'm just glad that we didn't see it, because I would have probably gotten in a fight with them if I would have been like, yo, why are you throwing rocks at me? I'm like, what the hell? Have you seen this face? Is all I got. Like, stop.
I can totally see that. Yeah, I'm so surprised that we all made it out there alive.
I know.
Because sometimes, like, too, in the midst of so much fear and, like, so much stuff going on in your body, like, you don't think straight.
Right, you just
so
jump
it's just
off
like,
mountains.
you just jump off. So that's kind of what happened to you. I see you. That's kind of what happened to me. I was like, dude, either this is going to kill me or this fall is going to kill me.
I'd rather die from the fall.
I'd rather die in the fall than whatever the heck this is. So I was like, all right, let's go.
I was so worried that like something was gonna happen, like, and we're gonna have to carry Emily back as we're running. Like, I would have probably been like, just take her.
Excuse me? That's how little you care. I'm definitely hurting you after this.
Was that your ultimate scariest moment?
Yeah, that was definitely my scariest moment.
Would you ever go and play the Ouija board again?
Absolutely not. Why would I?
would you ever go back to a cave? At night? That cave.
Oh no.
Poor girl. I really scarred her.
That was so traumatizing. You traumatized me for the rest of my life. I don't think I ever even went hiking after that, like during the day.
Lying. I literally ruined this whole girl's life.
Oh my god.
Like, I can't even go to Runyon without being like, oh my god, something's gonna follow me, somebody's gonna throw rocks at me. Like, I think I need to start going to therapy for that at some point.
I know, right? Do you go to therapy? Is that a wrong question? I've always thought about
actually do.
going to therapy. Is it helpful?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy because I feel like people have this very negative connotation of what therapy is. And like people are scared to talk about it, and people are scared to say, I go to therapy, because everybody's going to be like, oh, you're crazy. But it's really not like that. It's more so like you're just sitting there, and if you have the right person, obviously I do mine online, so I don't actually go to a place. But yeah, I mean, she's like a spiritual therapist, so she also helps you like spiritually and stuff like that.
Was it that girl that we went to that one time?
No, it's actually a different one. But, oh my god, that girl was good.
Yeah, she was.
She still asks me about you.
Does she?
Yeah, she still asks me if we got married. Like,
oh my god,
like,
we gotta talk about this.
She always wanted us to get married.
Okay, so Emily one time asked me if I want to go to a psychic with her, and I was like, yeah, sure, why not?
So she's actually not a psychic. She's an intuitive reader. So she like reads energies, and she's like, she's basically an intuitive reader.
Got it.
Yeah.
So Emily went there and asked about like all these guys that she liked or something.
Fair enough.
And they were
I did.
and the intuitive reader was trying to find out like if they're the right guys for her or whatever. And what happened?
And she just would always tell me Brennan. She's like, Brennan. She's like, Brennan is the right guy for you. And then it's funny because I left, right? And like a week later, she texted me. She's like, are you dating Brennan yet? And I was like, no.
He just left.
Like, what?
Wow.
And then again, she hit me up and she was like, I feel like you and Brennan are going to get married. And I was like, oh my God.
That's so funny because $25 goes a long way.
Yo, that's so funny.
Yeah, let me just...
Oh my gosh. That's hilarious. Like, could you imagine we start a whole marriage based on what this lady said?
I mean, I'm not down.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
My mom just says she approves out there. So,
there you go. She's my bestie, so she better approve.
We're setting up relationships on this podcast.
Well, we're gonna walk out of here with a marriage, with
everything.
Advice, this is like the most complete podcast there is out there.
I know, right? This is
Come
the full
on, Brennan podcast, and walk out of there with a full relationship and kids.
That's it.
Kids?
Oh,
that
kids?
was add-on. I mean, that's sprinkles to the cake, girl.
Kids, ... question mark.
So I saw that you like started a charity. charity. Tell us about that.
So my mom is Venezuelan. So I was born and raised in Dominican Republic, but I still consider myself half Dominican, half Venezuelan. So my mom is from there, and my entire family from my mom's side is still there. And there's like a very, very bad political situation happening over there. There's like a huge social crisis. People are starving. Like people aren't getting access to food and medicine and just basic needs. And it's all caused by the huge corruption that is going on in the government. So my mom and I just wanted to, obviously now that we're in a good place where we can actually help others, we wanted to start a charity to just help the country. So what we do is that we ship them, we host either charity events or just little things here and there to gather money or gather food or gather medicine. And we work with this shipping company that ships to Venezuela. And we just basically work with different places over there, either orphanages or elderly centers or other organizations that are based off of the country. And we just send monthly shipments to there with food and medicine. And we've been able to feed like thousands and thousands of people every month. And we host food banks over there. And we give medicine to the hospitals that don't have medicine. So yeah, we've been able to do a lot, which is awesome.
That's awesome.
We're really happy about it.
Yeah, and what's it called? It's called Cartos International?
Yeah.
Check it out.
Ooh, look at you doing your research.
I know you do a lot of stuff with charities, and you work with a lot. I know you work with one about human trafficking, right? And I'm so into the charities, you know.
Yeah.
Can you talk about the ones that you're involved with and how you got involved with charities? Because like me, I can't figure out which one I want to help out. That's my issue. Maybe people listening too.
Yeah. So I think that was actually my issue at first. I was like sitting back and I was like, sadly, there is so much wrong in the world, and there are so many negative things happening in the world, and there's like so many ways in which we can help. And I was trying to figure out, I don't want to like feel like an octopus where I have like tentacles everywhere and I'm going crazy. So I was like, let me just focus on a few things at first, and then everything will just flow the way that it's supposed to. So what I actually did was that I would find organizations on Instagram about things that I believed I could help in, and I would just DM them. I literally would just hit them up and I'd be like, hey, so this is the deal. I'm trying to like work with you guys and help you out and collaborate and do whatever I can to help or volunteer. And then a lot of them still haven't answered me, but the ones that did, I started like continuously working with them, and some of those are Thirst Project, which
yes, I remember Thirst Project. Yeah. Shout out to Thirst Project.
Shout out to Thirst Project. So they're amazing. Feeding America is another one that I constantly work with. They're trying to help obviously the hunger in this country, which is a very big issue. There's a lot of people that are starving that don't have access to food, and like that's a basic need. And it's crazy because we don't really realize it because we're obviously blessed and we have access to all these things, but we don't realize that most people don't. So that's kind of what I wanted to do. I wanted to be like, okay, what are the things that I feel really blessed in, but that I know that other people in the world or this country don't have, and let's target that. So yeah, that's kind of how I went about. And a lot of charities are really good about like, and on their websites and stuff, they have volunteering opportunities that people can look at. And honestly, if you just Google like volunteering opportunities in my area or something like that, you'll always find something. I feel like you just have to be willing to actually do the research. Yeah. And I think, and instead of just being like, oh, I kind of want to volunteer, and then just leave it at that, you have to do the research, read about these foundations, read about these organizations, and then just find like whatever resonates the most with you.
Definitely. I think that is a thing that everyone should spend some time doing in this quarantine. You know, figure out a charity you want to help out with, figure out what resonates with you, like Emily said, because, you know, there is a lot of people out there that do need help in certain things that we have and we look over because we are blessed to have it. So look into that. Look into a charity that you guys want to help out with because it's a beautiful thing. And I thank you for doing that.
Of course.
You guys even went and planted trees one time, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's amazing. That's another organization called Tree People. And they plant trees to help the environment and your community as well. Yeah.
Right. We're breathing in this oxygen and it's provided to us from the trees. We got to replant them, you know?
Exactly.
Like we're doing it all. We're doing it all in this podcast.
And it's awesome because I feel like at the end of the day, like, obviously being successful is really cool and having money and having this and like feeling financial stability and at the end of the day, I feel like what really is cool is what legacy you leave behind. And it's just like, how do we do that? By making the world a better place. And it's just like, when I die, I want people to remember me by the good things that I did and like how many lives I changed, as opposed to remembering me for, oh, look at these cars she had or look at this house she bought. You know what I'm saying? Like, I actually want to leave behind like a legacy of helping people and making the world a better place. And I feel like if we all did that together, man, what a better world we would live in.
Right. Let me know when you get the other 7 billion people on board.
I know.
No, that's cool. So what do you got? What do you got planned like to do for the rest of 2020? Do you have anything big coming out that the people need to know about?
Hopefully, the movie that I just did with Nicolas Cage, which was my first lead in a film, hopefully it's supposed to come out sometime this year before the year is done. It's called
Fingers
Willy's
crossed.
Wonderland. So because of COVID, everything's getting delayed, but I'm crossing my fingers that it'll still happen.
What
this
is that movie
year.
about? Can you give a little synopsis?
Yeah, so it's kind of like a sci-fi suspenseful movie. So Nicholas and I are trying to. It's like a night in the museum, but
Okay,
like
awesome.
Nicholas and Emily version. And we're trying to run away from these animatronic animals. So they come alive, and then they're trying to haunt us and kill us, and we're basically just like trying to run away from them and survive.
When you're working with such like an iconic actor like Nicolas Cage, do you feel like maybe your skills aren't as equal to his when you're performing with him?
Yeah, there was a point where I was like, oh my God, this was before I even met him, before anything. I was so nervous because I was like, this is an Oscar-winning actor.
I bet.
Like, this is my first film.
Yeah.
I'm just like, this is even crazy that I'm here right now. But at the end of the day, it's kind of crazy because when I like stepped onto set, I felt like an equal because he made me feel that way. And I think that's so nice about working with someone that obviously I've looked up to for so long. And I would watch his movies when I didn't even speak English. So it's like I never thought that I would be working with him.
Yeah.
So it also was really nice because he was so sweet. He was so kind. He was so welcoming. And he was always giving me advice. And it just felt like a really good environment because he made it that way. He wasn't like stuck up or anything like that. So I think that was also helpful for us working together.
Right.
Yeah, have you guys heard that conspiracy theory about Nicolas Cage?
No. What is it?
Tell me more.
So I don't know too much about it, but they say that he's a vampire.
I could totally see that.
Because there's,
Oh, do you have any bite marks?
I could totally see that.
so supposedly there's photos from like way early in the day. I have one pulled up, or I'll show you. We'll have to put it in the video.
Oh my gosh.
But it's like dated like 1800s, and it literally looks like him. Like,
Oh my God.
and there's
Let me
more
see,
photos.
let me see.
There's more photos like that.
That
Oh,
literally
that's
looks
him.
That is
Yeah.
him.
There's a whole conspiracy about it that he's like a vampire. He doesn't age.
I'm not
Alright,
gonna lie,
time
he's
traveler.
so like eccentric and he's so like wise and he just moves differently. So I could totally see that.
Yeah, imagine.
I could totally see that.
Maybe you're a vampire and you're not telling us.
Dang, that's crazy. No, I definitely think Nicolas Cage is an awesome actor. So that's a big big ups for you, and we're gonna be looking forward to
I was going
that.
crazy. I couldn't even believe it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, where can the people find you, Miss Emily Tosta?
So on social media, it's at Emily Tosta. And if you want to go watch Party of Five or Mayans MC, we're on Hulu. So
Yes, sir. Go stream those up. Go listen to them. Go watch them. And check out Emily Tosta. Thank you so much, Emily, for being here. We truly appreciate your beautiful energy on the set of this
Thank
podcast.
you.
Thank you very much. And until next week.
Peace.
bye.